tena kwenye mgaragazano wetu hapa ndani ya Citizen. Bila shaka tunaendelea kuwahoji magavana ama wanaowania kiti cha ugavana, wagombea wanne waliojitokeza.
Let's move on to the issue of land management and ownership in the county of Kajiado. Governor Ole Lenku, let me begin with you. Back in 2017, you froze the subdivision of rural land, and this literally put you on a collision course with many land buying companies and investors. We heard Mr. Nganga say that quite a few investors have been scared away by some of the land policies in your county. How do you intend to deal with this issue?
I think that is not correct. Let's first of all agree that land is an emotive issue. And land is a factor of production. And land requires a certain level of level-headedness to manage the issues of land, both in Kajiado and in our country. What you described was what was happening before we came into office. Kajiado has two faces, the rural Kajiado and the urban Kajiado. Many of the people in the rural Kajiado are living in group ranches, and more so in Kajiado South, where my MP and myself come from. And what we did to unlock the potential of land and deal with the issues of poverty and land use, I actually facilitated and allowed land subdivisions with several waivers to the people so that individuals can own land. When land is subdivided, there are very many benefits that accrue from it, from leasing, from using it, from renting, And so by doing that, we actually unlock the land potential in the rural areas. In the urban Kajiado, my predecessor used land as a tool for fueling tribal conflicts. And what happened then was that many people were allocated as, say, the similar plot. The county will get possibly several revenues from the same plot. But it left very many people worrying. What happened then, at some point, the county government then said having a title deed in Kajiado is just a piece of paper. In my tenure, Kajiado County has become the benchmark of land reforms in the country. We digitize our land processes. We began the alternative justice system where local leaders, a small committee, will deal with the issues of land in their locality. And their decisions are deposited in court. None other than the Chief Justice herself who came to launch that program and say that this is a model for the country, and I think is being rolled out going forward. We remove multiple allocation on a similar plot by validating all land plots in all the towns in Kajiado. In fact, I want to report that the commercial banks now accept as collateral land ownership document in Kajiado other than title deeds because of the security features we introduced. Okay. So basically, we have actually brought order in land in Kajiado. We have now become a benchmark. The conflict that my brother Nkedianye was living on before, despite his very good talk, he talks very nicely. But we all know that land in Kajiado then and now is like day and night.
Okay. Let me quickly jump to Daktari to respond to that. And of course, there's a question here from John Onyango, who asks, why did you raise land rates to become the highest in the country, even higher than Nairobi City? Was it a move to uproot non-locals who have invested in Kajiado County?
Actually, I want to say that that is not correct. The land rates in Kajiado are not the highest. And just before I delve into that, let me just put a rejoinder to what Lenku said. Actually, I did the new generation allotment letters. Lenku did not. He found them up and running. I did Ole Kasasi, I did Bull, I did Rongai, I did Kitengela. We actually brought in a new generation allotment letter with security features. That was my work. And so I take credit. I'm actually surprised to see how easily he just tries to take credit for something he never did. And I was on a pathway to bring in title deeds. Ole Kasasi, we went very far. By now, they should be getting their title deeds because we started that process. What we did actually also at the registry in Kajiado, and the registry, Mark Huey, and this is important to note, is actually not a devolved function. Yeah? Planning and survey are devolved. Registration of land is not devolved. It belongs to the national government. But what we did is that when I came in, I found the whole registry in disarray. The land sector was bleeding. People were buying land like tomatoes in a market. And we had to streamline that because several people had pieces of paper they called titles. And we had to streamline that to maintain and to restore the sanctity of the title deed. That is the battle I got into. And we actually ended up streamlining the land sector. And that is why I left it up and running. And it made sure that whoever had a piece of paper called a title, that was truly a title deed. And whoever had a paper saying this is an allotment letter, they could go and with a click of the button, they could actually establish that their plot was secure. And that allotment letter was not the old thing we found in a county council, a file, and they would say, you know, the file is not there, we cannot find it. We streamlined the land sector. In fact, I started a GIS lab that Lenku later worked on, and all that was my brainchild because I wanted to streamline the land sector, because the worst you can do with land is to make the owner of a title deed insecure so that they don't know if they actually have that land or not. So that is what I did, and there are clear examples of what I did in all the trading centers in Kajiado.
Naam, asante sana Mheshimiwa. Mheshimiwa Metito, pengine pia nawe uzamie swala hili tu kuhusiana na ardhi na pia uchangie masuala ya kijamii yanavyoathiri masuala ya urithi hasa kuhusiana na masuala ya ardhi katika kaunti ya Kajiado.
Thank you, Nimrod. Land in our constitutions is divided into three: public, private, and community land. And the uses for all of them is going to be agricultural, commercial, or industrial, and residential. There is need to regulate all of them, but regulate it not in a punitive way. And as my friend has said, Mheshimiwa Kago, some regulations are so punitive that they are scaring investors. And you cannot actually grow the economy of our county and thus creating jobs if you scare investment. If you scare investors, then it will be very difficult for us to talk all this up. Now, let me talk about how to regulate. You need to regulate depending on the area. Like, for instance, in Kajiado North. Kajiado North, it is so difficult right now, even to get a piece of land where in terms of public land, to even build an ECD. You really have to go and buy land and even buy from private land. It becomes so difficult. And it's because of lack of planning. We did not plan well to know when subdividing these public utilities, you need to focus on the future. So there is need to regulate, but not in a punitive way. Look at, as I said earlier, our county. It is semi-arid area. There are some areas, even if you subdivide, like the group ranges in my constituency, even if you subdivide where people are getting 10 acres of land, and it is a very dry area. What is possible in some of those areas is only pastoralism, rearing livestock, and as well as what we call conservation and tourism related activities. So subdividing that land into an acreage of 10 it's just going to be up for sale, and that you will impoverish even the owners more. So there is need to regulate to know where to subdivide and where not to subdivide for land to remain. Mheshimiwa Lenku said it is a means of production. It is true, but it will not be a means of production if it is not productive. So if you subdivide a pastoral land into 10 acres of land, and according to research, one cow grazes on 7 acres of land in a year. So you have only 10 acres, so you need, after getting where to put your boma, you need only 3 cows. And then that is possible. So you need to consider what are the commercial or what activities are possible there. Is it conservation? Is it tourism? Is it agricultural? Is it commercial, industrial? Then you regulate based on the economic activities that are going to be undertaken on that piece of land.
Thanks, Mheshimiwa Metito.
I think it's important to create a little clarity. It is important for me to say, and it's still interesting to hear Daktari calling a title a piece of paper. A title cannot be a piece of paper. It's a land ownership document. And the features we have introduced, we did ourselves. But this is the point, that we actually did a spatial planning in the county and created spaces for what we consider is a critical activity in our county. We have now places we call urban settlements. We have places for industries. We have set aside land for wildlife. and tourism. We have land for ranching as the counties. And so now our county is organized in such a way that if you have a title deed and the land ownership document, you know what activity to undertake in it. And this encourages more investments, more development, and opportunities for job creation. Thank you very
sana
much.
Mheshimiwa. Mheshimiwa Kago, najua nafasi ya kwanza ulikuwa umeitumia kuzungumzia masuala ya ardhi. Kwa hivyo nafikiri naona sasa pia tugeukie masuala ya kilimo, manake ardhi na kilimo vinaendana pamoja. Zungumzia viwango vya kilimo katika kaunti ya Kajiado na ni kipi ambacho utafanya tofauti. Tunafahamu fika kwamba kaunti ya Kajiado imejaa jamii nyingi tu za kuhamahama. Wengi wakitaabika hata katika kutafuta lishe kwa mifugo wao na kadhalika. Zungumzia kitu gani ambacho utafanya ikiwa utakuwa ni mwenye kuchaguliwa gavana wa kaunti ya Kajiado?
Asante sana. Nafikiri katika kaunti ya Kajiado tuko na sehemu mbili. Tuko na sehemu ya urban na tuko na rural area. Na ningesema ya kwamba most of the urban area wanajaribu kulima kidogo masehemu zenye wako nazo. Masehemu kidogo za shamba. Hawa ni wakulima. Na mimi nikiwa kama governor wa Kajiado, the first thing ni encourage vitu kama fertilizers, the seeds za hawa watu kulima katika area hiyo ya urban area. And almost the area ile imeshika hiyo urban area because people are doing farming. The other thing is to encourage water issues.
Mheshimiwa Kago, tupe ufafanuzi unapozungumzia masuala ya mbolea na mbegu. Je, ni zenye kutolewa na county, ni mwenye kuhakikisha kwamba bei inapungua kwa bidhaa hizi katika county ama vipi?
Ninasema kuna fund zinaweza set aside kusaidia county kupatia wananchi mbegu na mbolea kwa sababu ya ukulima. Na hivyo ndio ninafananua ya kwamba inaweza kuwa namna hiyo. Ya pili, ningeenda kwa livestock. Livestock issue ni sehemu zenye zinalishwa livestock. Na hizo sehemu zinalishwa livestock inataka some training kwa residents. Kwa sababu hii maneno, unajua the population inakuwa mingi na mashamba inakuwa kidogo. So uwezi weka ng'ombe 300 kwa ile sehemu zamani ulikuwa unaweka ng'ombe 300. Kwa sababu pengine ng'ombe 300 ulikuwa unaweka kwa eka 300 au eka 400. Sasa hizi uko na eka 100 au 50. Sasa unaona ni lazima trainiwe kwa overgrazing. Because sometimes you make overgrazing, unalete hizo ng'ombe zinakula na hata zingine zinakufa kwa kiangazi. Saa hizi tuko hapa, ukienda huko rural area wanatafuta nyazi kila pahali because of that overgrazing. Tuwafunze ya kwamba waweke ng'ombe chache na ng'ombe zinaweza kuwa na maana, zina maziwa na zinaweza kutuletea hata faida kuliko hizo ng'ombe mingi. Kwa hivyo ile kitu ningefanya nikiwa governor, mimi naweza kuwaletea bread ya ng'ombe zile safi. Wanaweka hata kama ni ng'ombe 5 lakini zinasimamia ng'ombe karibu 50. That's what I can do.
Na asante sana. Naona wagombea wengine pale wakiwa na sura za kutaka kuchangia katika mada hiyo, lakini tunakwenda mapumzikoni kidogo tutakaporejea bila shaka hilo swala la ufugaji lazima tulizungumzie na vile vile tuzungumzie masuala ya kilimo katika kaunti ya Kajiado. Tunapumzika kidogo lakini usiondoke, tutaendelea hivi.